2.
Hello and welcome to the episode about England in the 1500s. England at that time was ruled by King Henry VIII, and he banned all Catholic performances of liturgies. King Henry loved the theater, and so, you know, nothing was too small or too large for King Henry, and he had built a royal theater, and he loved to have the VIPs of international community join him and watch a play, just as they did in Italy. It was the same type of thing, and of course his first house of theater was beautiful, just beautiful as the Italians had created. And this was in 1576. In 1599, however, there was something very interesting that happened. It was the building of the Globe Theater. Now, to tell you a little background about the Globe, the actors, Lord Chamberlain's actors, were associated with the royal court. And they were a troupe of actors, all men, no ladies, who used different public facilities such as inns and public playhouses to present their drama. Well, one of these actors happened to be William Shakespeare. So, what did they do? He kept writing, and they kept looking for a place to really involve the public in something where they wouldn't have to spend so much of their own money. And so they could be independent. They wouldn't be controlled. So they gathered together among themselves enough money to build this Globe Theater in 1599. And it is still one of the most beautiful theaters in London, England, and it is very well patronized by people from all over the world. It is a small theater, and you can reach out and touch the actors. They get so close to you. It's that kind of a theater that gives you intimacy. And that's what they liked. The people wanted to feel intimate with the actors. They wanted to feel a part of what was going on the stage. They wanted to be involved. And that's exactly what the Globe Theater provided for the public. Well, of course, we know Shakespeare wrote everything with comedy and tragedy and romance and you name it. Shakespeare wrote it. He wrote 154 sonnets. You might not recall his Shakespearean sonnets that you might have had to memorize in high school. You know, that was very popular, the Shakespearean sonnets. But then he also wrote 37 plays. And I'm just going to mention a few of them. We have tragedies with historic characters such as Antony and Cleopatra, Hamlet, Macbeth, and of course, King Lear, very famous play. Then we have a fantasy called Midsummer Night's Dream. You might have seen that one in high school. I know I did. They don't seem to do these so much in high schools today. I don't know why, but we went to theater in high school, and we heard Shakespeare, and we saw Shakespeare right there, face to face. We saw symphony orchestras. We were a spoiled generation, I guess. But anyway, the famous play that, of course, every teenager likes to see is Romeo and Juliet. Famous love story about the ill-fated couple, and it has been played by every famous actor throughout history, it seems. Well, Romeo and Juliet were from warring families, the Capulets and the Montagues. So when Romeo says in the play, she's looking down from her balcony, and she looks at Romeo, who's looking up at her, and she looks down from her balcony, and she says, "Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?" Well, she didn't mean, "Where are you, Romeo?" She meant, "Why are you from the family that hates my family?" And so there we have this poor ill-fated couple. They get married. they have a few moments of married bliss, and then, I don't know, something happens. There are all kinds of twists and turns in the plot. And I think there's battles, there's dueling, there's all kinds of adventure scenes, and the families are fighting. And anyway, poor little Juliet, at this one point, a very climactic point in the play, she takes a sleeping pill so that she'll fall asleep but wake up at a certain time. But what happens is, when she takes this poison, the time gets turned around, and it doesn't turn out to be the time that she counted on waking up. And so when Romeo finds her, she looks as if she's dead. She really isn't. She's just sleeping, you know, like Sleeping Beauty. Remember Sleeping Beauty? Okay, the prince kisses her and she wakens. Okay. Well, anyway, he didn't kiss her and she didn't wake up. Poor Romeo, grief-stricken, he decides he's going to take poison and kill himself. And, you know, that's a very sad ending for our young people to see today, because there's nothing worse and sadder than suicide. And so many of the plays in the tragedies have suicides, you know. So that's not something I really enjoy teaching young people today. But that was what Shakespeare thought about. And so he was the great man of the day. And of course, Shakespeare is the most renowned playwright of all history, it seems. You can see him in America, you can see him in Europe, you can see him everywhere, in theaters everywhere across the world. So I hope that you have enjoyed our brief tour through Italy, through France, and through England at the time of the Renaissance. Thank you for joining us.